named Joseph Conrad, another author. He used it to sail around the world, and when he was done with it, an act of Congress was made to move it here. Yeah, no problem.
Are we turning, Dad?
Not yet, not until we get
Now
down.
you can see some of our other exhibits here. Wherever there is a blue and yellow flag or a blue and white flag, you can go inside and there'll be someone there to talk about the building and about what's going on inside. And in some of them, even when there's not like a blue and yellow flag, there's like a recording talking about the goings on in the building. The seaport wasn't originally a seaport. It was originally all boatyard, building boats up and down the Mystic River. We moved these buildings here from elsewhere to make the seaport. Now we're moving towards the north side of the seaport here, where there's a lot of our indoor exhibits. You remember those 2 million artifacts I mentioned before? 500 best are in that building right there, the Stillman building. And if you go up to the second floor, there's the art gallery, and the third floor, there's an area for kids to play. Behind that, there is the Maori building, which has a figurehead gallery. And in that white building there, we've got the small boat exhibit, including a boat that was owned by FDR. And over there, we've also got a planetarium, which first show is at 11, second show is going to be at 2. Definitely check that out. I love stars.
Too close.
As it's so brilliantly displayed with all those boats here this weekend, we are a full-service marina. So if you have a boat, you can come tie up with us and become very good company, apparently. Now, the first of our National Historic Landmarks is this one right over here. Not the white one, the dark-colored one, with the flags running up and down. That is the LA Dun from Boston. And it is the last of the sail-powered fishing boats. It was built in 1921, and the captain believed in his skills, so he was just like, I'm not gonna go with the engine just yet. After finding out that the competition was doing pretty well with the engine, he was like, okay, I need to give in. 2 years later, they put an engine on there. But we restore boats, so we restore them back to their original build, so we took the engine off. Now, the way they do fishing on there, if you're interested, is they'd have dories on there, 5 to each side of the boat, just stacked up, and every morning the dorymen would go out, lay mile-long lines with 750 to 1,000 hooks on there, come back, do upkeep on their fishing gear and stuff like that, maintenance, and then have some food and go out and get their catch. And they do that 2 to 3 times a day, and for about 2 weeks until hopefully their cargo hold was full.
Is the Mystic open every day?
Now, if you look behind this maroon building, there's the green windowed one. That one's actually 200 feet long, and it used to be about 1,050 feet long. Can anyone guess what was made in a building that long? Yep, ropes. That was the Plymouth Cordage Company. You can actually walk through there and see how they do it. Now, the Plymouth Cordage Company, the guy who owned it, learned how to make rope in New Orleans, but he didn't really agree with slave labor, so he moved it to Plymouth and was running it all with like water wheel power to get the systems running. Then they kind of went under when they decided not to go with synthetic ropes. They were only doing the natural fiber ropes, so they ended up being moved here.
Ready? What are you mouthing? Where are we? Where are we?
Mystic.
What boat are we on? Sabino.
But we
Now,
have
as we move around here, you can see through the lines of this other boat that grayish brownish building over there with the deck on top. That is a life-saving station.
look, the bridge is
They'd have about 7 guys manning that, and they'd have people looking out and checking if anyone was like in danger or had run aground on some rocks, and they'd send out the other 6 on a boat to go and bring them in. If the waters were rough, they'd use what's called a Lyle gun, and they would fire a line over the downed boat. And on the end of the line would be a plaque, and in a bunch of different languages it would read how to use a breach buoy, which is the mechanism that was being fired with the rope. Kind of like a clothesline that you can reel in. They'd reel people into shore until everyone was safe. Now, the next of our National Historic Landmarks is the MSC Berry, and it's the one with the white bowsprit. Okay, there's 2 dark hull boats. It's not the Equinox. The one behind it is the MSC Berry. That is a Connecticut wet well smack. It was built in Noank, and a wet well nowadays is called a live well. Basically, their cargo hold was watertight, and they drilled holes in the bottom of the boat so water could come in. As they were going along, the water would filter through the holes, stay fresh, and all of their catch would be alive by the time they reached shore again.
Daddy, 40, only 6. Like 46. Only 41 is my favorite number. What are those green stuff?
These maroon buildings
Buoys.
to our port side are part of our boat yard with restoration yard, the
Buoys.
DuPont restoration. In the bigger one, you can actually go upstairs and inside and see how we do our restorations. And as I mentioned before with the LA Dun, we do restore boats back to their original build, and we restore engines as well. Coming out from behind that big maroon building is our centerpiece and our 3rd National Historic Landmark, the Charles W. Morgan. It's the one under the scaffolding and all the plastic. That is the last of the wooden whalers. It sailed for 80 years, and it went on 37 voyages, each voyage averaging 4 or 5 years. They're currently undergoing a 6-year restoration program, started in 2008, and it's planned to splash about July next year, I believe. Now you can actually go and look up inside, and if you go around the other side of the boat, not this side we're looking at, there's stairs to go inside the boat. So definitely go check that out. It's big, beautiful, and awesome.
We already been there.
Yeah, we've been there. Lots.
The last of our National Historic Landmarks is this one right here, the Sabino. This is the last operational wood-hulled, coal-powered, steam-driven boat in America. So it's also the last, one of the last 2 operational or like rideable National Historic Landmarks. The other one is the cable cars over in San Francisco.
Daddy.
Now, this boat was built in 1908. It was originally only 1 floor, and it was a tourist boat up in Maine with the name Tourist. The years passed, it changed hands and changed name. It also gained the 2nd floor, and to do that, they also added on 3 feet to either side of the boat. To do that, they put a new hull around the original hull with stanchions holding it out.
The boat is slow.
Now, the engine we have in here is the original engine from 1908 when it was built. So the engine was built in Noank, and apparently it's only had 4 parts replaced in its whole operation.